let's get comfy because this is going to be a long one. After filming my yarn stash update where I counted all of my skeins and reorganized my yarn stash, I quickly realized that a lot of the times when I wanted to keep a specific yarn or fiber, I would say this would look great in Colorwork. This would work great in Colorwork. I could use this in Colorwork. And you know what? This year my goal is to knit at least 1 or 2 Colorwork sweaters and kind of go from there. So for today what I did is I collected 12 different patterns that are Colorwork that I would love to knit up either with these yarns or, you know, as I find yarns throughout the years, maybe mix and match some different fibers. And one bonus pattern that I would love to get, but seems a little bit harder for me to get to, or get the pattern to me. So that one I might need your help with. So we're gonna start off strong. The first one is gonna be the Wave Sweater by Spectacles Trick. I think that's how you say it. So this is an Aran weight pattern. It is stranded colorwork knit up, and I love this sweater. I've been seeing it over on Instagram now for probably 2 years. It doesn't really say when the pattern was released, but I just love the look of a turtleneck. You guys know that I love me a really nice turtleneck. I also love that the sleeves kind of are really poofy, but then have a really tapered out rib cuff at the end. I find that that adds to the wave look, and I absolutely just love the color of this one. The fact that it is a kind of lovely lilac purple with a very neon green. However, those are probably not the colors I would go with. They're kind of a little bit too out there for me, but I really appreciate the look of this one. Now the colors that I would probably go with are, for example, this one by Restless Stitches. She has a beautiful white one with like a much lighter teal. I think that that is stunning. Or maybe like a creme with a brown wave, or a nice cobalt blue with like yellow waves. I don't know. I think that that would be stunning. But honestly, this is a pattern that I've had my eye on for so long. I just haven't hit buy on it just quite yet. The names are always so hard, but next on my list is the Jean Sweater by Joanna Gerrich. I love this one. It kind of resembles the Wave Sweater, but with a little bit more of a like wave all over, but with a nice little detail in the pink section. It's kind of like a lace work with, at the same time, the red waves being a rib. So it's a purl knit, purl knit, purl knit row, and then you have the pink lace. I think that this is such a nice, fun, airy design, but at the same time, it's still a full sweater that in the picture seems to like be full coverage, which is really, really great. So this one is knit up using a lace and a fingering weight, so it creates a DK weight yarn, and this one was published in August of 2024. And honestly, if I was to do this one right now, Valentine's Day is like next weekend, so it's a little bit too late, but these colors scream Valentine's Day. I would probably do it in these colors. I love it. I love a bold color. I don't normally knit and wear bold colors, but I don't know, I really like this one, and I might be tempted to knit it in those colors. Now, of course, that means I would need to buy more yarn for it, but I think that for a fun sweater like this, it would be really cool. I also have never knit a Colorwork sweater with lace stitches. I've actually never done a full lace stitch sweater before, so that would also be quite challenging and something new. And I always love to pick up patterns where I can learn a new trick, a new technique. I find that really, really fun, and that's partly why I love knitting. So this one does seem to have quite a few challenges with it, because along with the lace and the ribbed like red sections, the waves, you have to work up twisted rib for the cuffs and the neck collar. So that is another element of another little technique that is added into this one that I feel like really polishes the look but makes it look super fun. Then on the list we have a sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl, and it is the Nova Sweater. I absolutely love this one. I love everything about it, especially the speckled, the little dotted first section right below the collar. I find it super pretty, and if you know me, you know I'm not one to go for a round yoke, but for this one I'd be really interested in trying, maybe get back and try a round yoke sweater. Typically I don't find they fit that well on me, but I've seen this one pop up every so often on Instagram, and I've seen it like pop up on Ravelry, and it is one of those patterns that just catches my eye every time. It's so clean and simple, but I just love the look of the design of the yoke. And I find that the yoke, especially on the model, fits perfectly at the right spot. Sometimes yoke tend to run a little too short for my preference or a little too deep. I love this one. I love that after working the yoke at Colorwork, you just do regular stockinette in one color. This would also be a good pattern for people who have never worked colorwork designs before, because you just do one section colorwork. So it's not an overall colorwork. So you can just like test it out, get used to it, and then still have fun just knitting stockinette mindlessly and just still have a beautiful colorwork sweater, but it's not like a full scheme colorwork. So this one is knit up in an Aran weight, so it is a bit chunkier of a knit, and they're using Istex Let Loopy. I've never used a Let Loopy yarn before, or I remember Plata Loopy used to be really popular. Was that 3 years ago now? They had like a really big surge, a really big moment, and everybody on Instagram was knitting with Plata Loopy. Now I've never tried a really, is it woolen prep, like a really lightly single yarn? So I would be really interested, maybe if I do cast this one on, to get that type of yarn and try a new yarn. Because yeah, I've never knit with a yarn like that before, and it could be really fun. Then I have the scrap end of all scrap sweaters. It is the Sea Glass Sweater by Wool & Pine, and I say that because this is just such a perfect sweater for scrap yarn. If you have leftover yarns of the same weight or the same kind of color tones and you don't really know what to do with it, this is the sweater to use them on. And I have been wanting to make a sweater like this with like a vomit of rainbow different colors. I find them so stunning, and I just always have, I'm kind of scared to do it because I'm worried that working up a sweater with so many different colors, like the whole point is to be a scrap sweater and use up different colors, but I'm so scared about the muddling and it just looking like too much of a scrap sweater, if you know what I mean. I feel like a lot of us are kind of stuck in that color paralysis. Like it's so much color that it's like, I feel like if you don't hit the right colors at the right spot, it'll just look awful. Like if you put brown next to black next to red, it's gonna be meh. But if you put blue, green, yellow, that could be really nice. I don't know. There's just like too many options of color. But yeah, so if I do knit a scrap colorwork sweater, it is most likely going to be this one. I love this one so much. I find it so refreshing and so fun. So this one is a little bit older. It is from 2022. It uses up DK weight yarn. And if you look on Ravelry under like the projects section and see what everybody else has knit up, there are some really stunning, fun like color options in there and ideas. So definitely check it out if you have a bunch of DK weight yarn and aren't sure what to do. If you have an advent calendar or over the past 2 years have just knit a bunch of DK weight socks and are just stuck with little half a skeins or something, this could probably be a project that you can cast on using that yarn. Now the biggest concern for me in this pattern, and what would worry me the most, is the end weaving in. It is just something I struggle with, and half the time my projects I just never weave in the ends and I just wear them as is. But for this one, there would be a lot of them. So yeah, that's the only thing on my mind for this one, the only concern. The next sweater is an older one as well, but it is so popular that there even is a cardigan version now, and I keep seeing people knit this one up. It is the Halibut Sweater by Caitlin Hunter, and I love this one. I just love the look of the fish. I am a fish girl. I used to have an aquarium growing up with fishes, and I just love fish. I always have. And the fact that this is just fish in a round yoke all over the sweater is beautiful. I've seen so many people and so many different versions online of this sweater, and I have actually been searching for this pattern for quite some time. So I'm really happy to have found it now. And now I would just need to knit it up. The long, hard part, not finding the sweater, it is actually putting in the work and knitting it up. So this one is worked up with a DK weight yarn. There are many different sizes for this one, which is really nice. So I've heard really great things about this pattern, that it is really well written and it works up super nicely. Again, if I was to do this one, I would probably, just as the original pattern design has, make it a dark color with a light white gray fish. I find that really stunning, and it's so rare that you can knit a really dark, like maybe a charcoal sweater, or not black, but just like a really dark kind of gray brown with a really light fish. I find it so rare that you can actually knit like a really dark sweater. A lot of the times you don't see the detail, and I just love this one. I love the contrast, the opposite from most Colorwork sweaters. I find that really, really fun. Sticking with the water and sticking with the fishes, the next one is the Melville Sweater by Sarah Beth Hall. I love this one. I love the detail in it. I love the idea of having a giant whale on a sweater, and the waves, the fact that they wrap all around in the round is beautiful and stunning. And apparently the Melville is a loose raglan style sweater with Morse code detailing spelling out SOS on each repeat on the raglan shaping, which is super cool. And on top of the Morse code, there are purled rows all over the sleeves that kind of show and indicate little waves. And I mean, you can choose to have that or choose not to, but I find that super fun. It is like a really well thought out design. It is very creative. I would love to have a whale sweater. So this one is from 2023 and it uses fingering weight yarn, but I love the look of it. I find it so much fun, and I love that the designer thought about putting Morse code into it and just adding a secret detail of rib on the sleeve to create waves. I find that so fun, and I guess you could even make them in the white yarn if you want them to show even more, or if you just want the whale design, you could just do that. You don't have to add the pearl rows on the sleeve. It's kind of up to you, but I just find that a really fun creative detail that I hadn't really seen before in any other patterns. I love flowers and I find them so pretty. It might just be because I'm super girly, but I stumbled upon the Josefine Sweater by Solvata Knitwear, and I thought it was super cute, and I love the pictures that she took in front of a field of flowers out in nature. It's just super soothing and it works really well with the sweater. I love the look of the flowers. They're not just like typical flowers. You have each individual petal, and then in the center it's still like a little complex color work that work up kind of like the, what is that, the pulp? Is it? No, pulp is fruit. The little circle in the center with the polyp. Anyways, I find the sweater really, really cute. I love the red with the white, and I would be tempted to do this one. However, there's another project I'm going to talk to you guys about that has red and white like this, and I wouldn't want to have, I mean, who cares? I could have two red and white sweaters. Someone else is also knitting it with a gray and white without the center. Now, I love this combo, this color combo. It is beautiful. I would probably re-add that center to the flower simply because I think it adds to the whole sweater, adds to the look. And I like that it's like a yellow center, like a daisy. And I love that the flowers are all over the sweater, but they're well spaced out. It's not too claustrophobic. It's not too like hard to tell. You can really tell that these are flowers. Sometimes in color work, things get lost because it's like not as smooth as a drawing. It's depending on stitches. So this might seem scary, but for this pattern, it does state that you need a lace yarn. Now on Ravelry in the patterns section where people are knitting it up, some people are using sport weight and some people are using fingering weight. But the pattern does require US 6 4mm needles and US 2.5 3mm needles. So I'm not 100% sure. I would definitely recommend knitting a swatch for this one. It was originally, I think, in Danish, so maybe the language, like something didn't translate well. I've seen that happen many times on Ravelry now, where meterage, or not meterage, needle sizes and like yarn requirements get swapped out for some weird reason. I'm not too sure what it does that. Ravelry is weird, but yes, definitely if you do plan on casting this one on, and maybe when I will finally get to it too, I will also be knitting a swatch just to be sure, because it is a beautiful knit. The next one on my list is the Heirloom Quilt Cardigan. I love the look of quilts, and this one I just love the sun design on these quilts. I love the colors that the original designer used. It's very retro, very vintage, but very just like kind of in a modern twist. It just looks really cozy and comfy. Sorry, I'm itchy. I love how oversized the cardigan is and how boxy it is, but I love how the color work only stops at kind of mid sleeve. It's not on the sleeve all the way down. And then the fact that both sleeves are opposite colors. Now you can make this the same color if you really want to, but I kind of like the look of having one of the main colors from the quilt be your sleeve color. I find that really fun. And then the beautiful burgundy border rib all around really ties the whole look together. So this is a pattern from July 2023. It uses two fingering weights held together, and this one is flat color work. So it is worked in flat because it's a cardigan. This one does require 6 different colors to work together, so it does call for a little bit of planning, deciding a color palette before jumping right into this one. The next pattern is one that I've talked about numerous times on this channel, and I will one day cast it on. I have the yarn, I bought the pattern, I just instead cast it on the Dagmar sweater recently. So this one was pushed back a little bit again, and it is the Porcelain Sweater by Len Home Sweater. I love the look of the original one with the kind of porcelain white gray. It's kind of like an off-white gray with the very bright blue. Now, if you've been on this channel for some while and remember my swatch that I knit up, I did try to find these colors and make them work together because I do have this kind of gray, but I can't find the right blue to work with it. So I think if I do knit this up right now, the color that I'm going to go with is, do I have it? It would be more like this. I think these are the colors that I'm going to go with. So I have the mohair, I have the white. I don't think I have enough mohair. I might just need to buy the brown mohair that I was using. But mine would be more of a kind of rainbow colorwork porcelain sweater. Now this was a swatch I knit up just for fun in one of my swatch making videos, just to see if these two colors would even work together, these two yarns. And this feels so soft. Oh my god, I'm gonna make this. But yeah, I definitely would knit my porcelain sweater with this vibe, this color palette. So it won't look like a traditional porcelain like bowl or teacup, which was the original design concept, but I'm okay with that. This pattern, if I haven't mentioned it already, does call for a fingering weight yarn. Now the next one is one that has been on my list for far too long, and it is a pattern that I kind of forgot about till recently, and it is the Diana Black Sheep Sweater. I love this one so much, and it is a free pattern. I think this is the only free pattern on this list. Now this is a pattern that was originally released in McCall's magazine in 1987, and then in 2011 was donated by designers Johanna Osborne and Sally Muir to raise money for Médecins Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders. It's really, really cool. So I love this sweater. I love the look of it. I love the vintage idea that this is the Diana sweater, the Lady Di sweater. But this is why I was saying if I knit the white and red flower one and I have a white and red sheep one, that's like really similar. So I think this one I would want it to be the traditional colors, simply because that is what Princess Diana had. And I think that the flower one, I would change it from a red to, I don't know, maybe a blue or gray. I might change that one. And then recently I was watching a video from here on YouTube, The Knitterary. She is another knitter who has a channel here, and she was showing her sweater, and I saw that she did the modification to figure out how to work it up in the round, because traditionally since it's such an old pattern and how it's only a modern recent thing, patterns are being knit up in the round. It is a flat knit design, but she did state that when she's done her version and figuring out all the math and making sure everything is correct, that she would put the instructions over on Ravelry on the steps she did to knit it in the round. If that isn't out by then, I might also try to figure out how to knit this one in the round, because there is no way that I'm knitting this one flat. Flat color work would be horrendous. So I think, yeah, I might try and do that too and copy what she's doing, because I really want this sweater and I'm super glad that it's back on my radar. There are so many different patterns here on Ravelry and new patterns being added every day. Sometimes things just slip right under and you kind of just forget about certain patterns, and it's so nice when something like this happens. A little spark is ignited and you're just like, ooh, yes, this one, I forgot about this one. Now, if I haven't stated this already, this one is knit using fingering weight yarn, 3 different colors, red, white, and black. The next pattern is the reason why I got these Drops Charisma yarn and this giant order of yarn. I think I have 9 Drops Charisma in white and 9 in the black. Now this is the off-white and just the black, regular black. Now I got these yarns with the idea to knit up a pattern from the Beatles All You Knit Is Love book. I saw this one at Indigo recently and I don't know, I just had to get it for myself. I love the Beatles. I grew up in a Beatles family, so they were kind of hard to escape, and I don't know, their music is just really good. Now the pattern that I absolutely fell in love with, and this is the reason why I got this book, this one and like a pillow or a couple other patterns, is the Sea of Holes sweater. So this is what it looked like, and this is what I'm going to be knitting with the white and black yarn. I am super excited to knit this one up. Now this is worked up, I believe this is Intarsia. I have never knit an Intarsia sweater. So this pattern comes in a couple different sizes, from small all the way to XXX large. It uses DK weight yarn, which is why I felt the Drops Charisma would work perfect for this. I wanted like a woolier wool. It is a skill level 3 apparently. This design is by Cecil Jeffrey, and it is a flat knit design. That is the only bummer, but this pattern, it is so fun and pretty. It does come with all of the charts. Everything is like there. Whoops, that's a different pattern. So I might be able, alongside with these charts, to figure out how to knit it in the round, and I would most likely knit it in the round. I still haven't checked if this is, yeah, it's bottom up. So it is a bottom up knit, and I love, ooh, I can't show that. Okay. Well, this is pretty much the only picture I can show you because there's no instructions on this page, but I love the turtleneck of this one. If you guys are interested, I can totally give a book review of this book and other patterns when I finally knit it up. My experience working a pattern like this, I've never done a kind of themed knit before, so this is a Beatles themed pattern book. All the patterns in here are for the Beatles. This pattern does have other colors in it. There's red, yellow for the yellow submarine. I plan on using my red wool that I showed in my destash video, in my yarn collection video. I also plan on using my hand-dyed wools, the yellow ones that I did with flowers and onions. So I think because those are mini skeins, that's definitely more than enough to knit the submarine. I don't know, I just thought that this was super fun. And if you watch the original movie, The Yellow Submarine, from, what is it, 1960, around the 60s. I grew up on that movie, and we used to have it on VHS and would watch it all the time with my family. So I really resonate with the sweater, and I want to knit it up. I want to knit it up. Also, I love the book. It is such a fun yellow book. So that is why I ordered this yarn, and this is the project that I will most likely be casting on in April. April sounds like a good month for the Beatles, right? So now there is one more pattern on my list, and this is a fairly old pattern. It is a pattern by Roma Designs. It is the Genser, this one. And I saw someone over on Instagram in Instagram Reels who says that their grandma knit this one, but they knit a cardigan version. I'm assuming they steeked it. I've never steeked anything before. I would love to try steeking a project. This one is very ambitious. It is very huge, so this might not be my first steeking project. So this is the reel that I had seen that I fell in love with. This is the original look. This is a fingering weight, so on top of it being huge, it is knit on really small needles. It is knit on 2.5 millimeter, which is 1.5 US, 3 millimeter, which is US 2.5. So this one would for sure be a long-term project, a very long-term project. So sadly, this pattern seems to only be in Norwegian, and when I emailed Roma Designs, they did answer me in Norwegian and said that the only way you can get this pattern is if you buy yarn. I think you need to buy a minimum of 4 skeins, so then you can buy the pattern. That's how they kind of work. But then it would be in Norwegian. So if you know of any designs that are similar to this one, or if you have this pattern and are willing to translate it, I would love to buy it from you. But just wanted to show it because it is just such a stunning knit, and I've never seen anything like this before, and I am on the hunt. Whether it's old, whether it's a new design, this is just beautiful and stunning, and I would definitely make the jacket version for sure, for sure. So that kind of wraps up my list for today. These are all of the designs, colorwork wise, that are on my mind and just kind of pondering around, and I hope to get to a couple of these this year. For sure not all, because colorwork personally for me takes a little bit longer than just a regular stockinette, but also I don't know if it would take as long as cabled knits. So if any of these patterns are on your list, let me know in the comment section down below, or if you have any other pattern recommendation ideas, let me know, and the bundle of all of these patterns will be shared in the description box down below. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you had a really nice cozy time watching me ramble on about different colorwork projects and different pattern ideas. And if any of these patterns resonate with you or on your list, let me know. Or if you have any similar pattern colorwork ideas, let me know in the description box down below. I will check it out and might add it to this list. And if not, thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!